Let's start here. Picture an institution at the absolute top of its game. A 200-year-old American icon, so woven into the very fabric of a nation that it seems completely indestructible. Well, that was Brooks Brothers in 2018. This is the story of its spectacular fall, and its, well, very, very strange rebirth.
So, the scene is April 2018. New York's Lincoln Center is just bathed in this color they called Brooks Blue. You've got celebrities like Katie Holmes walking the red carpet, you've got Wynton Marsalis playing jazz, and then Paul Simon shows up for a surprise happy birthday sing-along. I mean, this wasn't just a party, this was a coronation. For 2 whole centuries, this brand was seen as America's conscience, its legitimacy.
And then, boom! Just 2 years after that incredible peak, the whole thing came crashing down. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So you have to ask yourself, how on earth did that happen? To really get why this collapse was such a massive shock, you first have to understand what Brooks Brothers truly was. It wasn't just another clothing store. For a lot of people, it was practically a piece of the American government, a national institution. The scale of its influence is just staggering. Think about this. 40 out of 45 U.S. presidents wore the brand. Abraham Lincoln was wearing a Brooks Brothers coat the night he was assassinated. JFK loved their button-down shirts. Heck, even Donald Trump, who's known for his Italian suits, wore a Brooks Brothers overcoat to his own inauguration. It was, for all intents and purposes, basically state infrastructure. I mean, the brand's history is a history of American innovation. They basically invented ready-to-wear clothing way back in 1849, a total game-changer for a country on the move during the gold rush. They created the iconic button-down shirt in 1896, and even into the 21st century, the owner, Claudio Del Vecchio, was trying to recommit to that original American spirit. But, and this is a big but, here's the crack right underneath the glamorous surface. Del Vecchio's whole commitment to Made in USA was built around these 3 legendary factories in North Carolina, Massachusetts, and New York. These places were the absolute soul of the brand. But as Del Vecchio himself later admitted, they never once turned a profit. Not once. It was this beautiful, noble, but totally unsustainable inefficiency. So that noble inefficiency, well, it made the company super vulnerable. It was already carrying a ton of debt when the world just changed overnight. You see, the pandemic wasn't the cause of the collapse, but it was absolutely the final, brutal push off the cliff. And the central problem was really simple. In March 2020, the entire reason to wear a Brooks Brothers suit just evaporated. Offices closed, weddings got canceled, and the entire professional world moved to Zoom. Demand for their #1 product didn't just shrink, it vanished. Poof. And the fall was just terrifyingly fast. By May, a $20 million emergency loan was like a drop in the ocean against $500 million in debt. Then in June came the moment that really broke everyone's heart. The 3 American factories, the soul of the company, were closed for good. The machines stopped. The sound of American manufacturing just fell silent. And on July 8th, it was official. But here's where the story gets really, really interesting. This wasn't the end. It was actually the beginning of a transformation, where the whole idea of what a brand even is got turned completely on its head. And this distinction right here is absolutely crucial. The company that actually made the clothes, yeah, it failed. But the brand, that golden fleece logo, the 200 years of history, the name itself, oh, that was still an incredibly valuable asset. And you better believe the asset hunters were circling. The winning bidder was a company called Authentic Brands Group, or ABG. And they operate on a totally different philosophy, what's called the asset-light model. The idea is, forget owning risky, expensive factories. You just own the really valuable thing, the name, and you let other people deal with the messy business of actually making and selling stuff. And here's how the playbook works. ABG bought the Brooks Brothers intellectual property. Now they just license that name out to factories all over the world. They don't make shirts, they manage a symbol. And the quality is no longer guaranteed by some kind of company conscience. It's guaranteed by the fine print in a licensing contract. Brooks Brothers was no longer a maker, it was a piece of IP. Okay, but get this. While the main brand was being turned into this global symbol, a fascinating and completely opposite story was unfolding halfway across the world in Japan. As the American parent company was collapsing, its longtime Japanese partner, a company called Daido Limited, took full control of the Japanese operations. And the price they paid? A symbolic $1. Now, that dollar wasn't just for stocks. It was a promise. It was Daido saying, we'll take on all the risk, all the responsibility to keep what we see as the real Brooks Brothers alive. So this set up two totally opposing philosophies. Globally, you have ABG focusing on efficiency, treating the brand as a symbol you can license. But in Japan, Daido, a company with deep, deep roots in manufacturing, did the exact opposite. They were driven by a manufacturer's pride to preserve the brand's tangible substance, using their own factories to make stuff that honored the quality the main brand was leaving behind. And this split created this bizarre, fascinating new reality where the past actually began to fight back against the present, and it led to this complete inversion of value. Okay, so let's really break this down because this is the core of what the brand has become. On one side, you have the new products, the symbol, made in a global supply chain. But on the other, you have the vintage items, the substance, made in those now closed American factories. And here's the crazy part. In the secondhand market, the vintage stuff is now worth more than the new stuff. Old is officially more valuable than new. So what happens? The customers have become the authenticators, hunting for proof. The holy grail for collectors is a button-down shirt made before the 1990s in the Garland, North Carolina factory. Why? Because it has 6 buttons on the front, not the modern 7. And that one tiny detail creates this perfect collar roll when it's unbuttoned. It's a physical marker of authenticity that a licensing agreement just can't replicate. It's the real thing. So where does that leave us? What even is Brooks Brothers today? Because one thing's for sure, the old monolithic brand is gone. Forever. It's been replaced by something way more complex. Today, the brand is really a decentralized ecosystem. You've got ABG managing the global intellectual property, you have Daido over in Japan preserving the craft, you've got the vintage market where collectors trade the authentic substance, and you even have other companies like the Japanese retailer Ships, which now owns the trademark for the legendary Southwick suit factory. The heritage has been shattered and scattered to the winds. And this has led to one of the absolute strangest survival kits in modern business. It's this wild mix of global licensing for mass appeal, premium Japanese craft for the purists, a booming vintage market for authenticity, and, in the most 21st century twist of all, the parent company now holds some of its treasury reserves in Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin. It's a truly bizarre survival kit combining ancient craft with digital assets. And all of this leaves us with one final crucial question. The story of Brooks Brothers forces us all to ask, what even is a brand anymore? Is it the physical thing you hold in your hands? Is it the story that gives it meaning? Or is it just another symbol on a balance sheet, a financial asset to be bought and sold? The silence of the golden fleece? Well, it doesn't offer any easy answers.